And rounding out our field tonight in the 24A, that's going to be Cole Robertson. So Cole's made that transition from the F2 and the A-grade midget class down into the TQs, and he's been loving his time in this class as well. As we just looks like the rain has stopped here as well, and the track is looking like it's full of moisture in heat race number 1, Marco.
Yeah, and having the 1 and 2 here definitely takes it up another level as well with these guys. And look at that, you've already got, what's that, 10, 11 rows that are coming back. These cars are already stacked from the very first heat. They'll be ready to go as well. It'll be great to see how the 1 and 2 perform, and for these other guys to see where they sit up against the current podiums at the stage.
And as our BYD Shark 6 pace truck pulls to the infield here, Caleb Curry and Saul Smith are going to lead them around through turn number 3 and out of turn number 4. And we're green for heat race number 1 here at Lucas Oil Auckland Speedway.
Yeah, great start from Nathan Burrow down on that inside. He's going to hold that line nice and simple through turns 1 and 2. They're going to just sort it out, or just a little bit of touching further back. But at this stage, it looks like a clean start for them as we round out that first lap here at Lucas Oil Auckland Speedway.
We can see just a little bit of moisture on the surface at the moment as Humble and Dana Lowry come together out of turn number 4. But slightly further forward, we see Lockie Brett in that red number 39 just challenging, working his way into the 4th position at the moment as we've got a race for 2nd on screen, side by side down there into turn number 3. That's Scott Baker and Saul Smith.
Yeah, the battle definitely seems to be happening with Ware, Brett, and of course Chris Lane as well. But their bid pack at this stage starting to open up in that lead though. It looks like Caleb Curry definitely demanding the attention that he requires at this stage. We're only a couple laps in though, a few more to go here at Lucas Oil. And he's got
That's the yellow comes out actually. Sorry to cut you off there, Marco. We're seeing Regan Tyler actually pull to the exit of the racetrack down here in front of us out of turn number 4. So major issues with the 2NZ. They had some issues in the past as well, and thought they'd gotten on top of it and then hadn't quite been able to get it sorted by the seams of things. So, I mean, an early retiree is one of note as well, with our first feature winner here on the opening night at Lucas Oil Auckland Speedway.
Yeah, and he's going to want to get that fixed as soon as possible too. So looks like he struggled just to get off on that infield there with that lip. Couldn't really tell anything as they were sort of grading up at that stage. So we'll have to find out a little bit more and see what's happening with Regan. At this stage, it's not something he wants going into the new year.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we've gone lights out here with Caleb Curry and Scott Baker on the front row here. As they just work their way past the CRC 556 start can. It's in the hands of Caleb Curry. He takes them all the way through, out of turn number 4, and he's going to lead them down the front straightaway here, but not without challenge. Scott Baker drives to his outside down here. We've got a side-by-side race for the lead in turn number 1 and 2, but Caleb Curry's going to hold on to it out of turn number 2.
Yeah, definitely one of the quickest entries into turn number 1 was that Harris race car of Baker. Oh, a little bit of mistake from Nathan Burrow as it comes out of turn 4. So that gives now the lead come straight over. Got 2 cars run, including the national champion.
Yeah, Jeremy Webb, Troy Pennington and Christopher Lane caught up down there in turn number 3 and 4. I saw just catching the end of it there as Chris Lane went over on screen. Looks like Jeremy Webb's still rolling, and the car's still fired actually. So Jeremy looking actually relatively straight. All 3 cars not looking too bad. Troy Pennington possibly with a little bit of front end damage. Webb just looks to take off. He's got the clutch in down there. Obviously these TQs with the GSXR 750cc motorcycle motor, so a ton of power, and that's that notorious rev limiter that they were talking about in the pre-show as well, that we heard on the opening night as the drivers were getting the hang of the gearing required for this new venue here. Is incredibly, we see Chris Lane actually, who was just upside down, making his way down the front straightaway on screen there. Yeah, a little bit of a party trick from him, I think. And I think with Jeremy Webb at this stage, you can never count out Jeremy Webb. I mean, how many titles has he actually got with that 1NZ? He'll just be wanting to get used to this track at this stage. Unlucky at the moment for him so far, but it's only 2 days into his little North Island tour, so he'll get it sorted. Yeah, luckily I got the chance to talk to both Troy Pennington and Jeremy Webb, and they were both hopeful of a good night here tonight. So really unfortunate for both of them to be caught up in this early accident here. And obviously Troy Pennington, the only one, as he sits his head back in the seat there, extremely disappointed with this first heat race result. As Troy just consistently one of the fastest cars in the TQ field and just really struggling to put together a complete night at the moment. He's also one of the drivers in the TQ field that actually have the most growth as well over the last few years. It's strange that he hasn't had a podium number on the car yet. It's definitely coming. I'd watch for the next, either this season or possibly the next, but it's due for him anyway, so Troy Pennington will be gutted about that first lot. Just as you can see on screen, this car's just starting to weave a little bit, trying to work the moisture back into the surface here as we're experiencing just a little bit more drizzle here in Auckland. Unfortunately, obviously just laying that moisture layer down on the top of the surface here. Just the racetrack not quite safe to go green at the moment. So they're going to let these guys circulate. I mean, one of the benefits of the TQs as well, although very light and not making a massive impact on wheel packing, they don't burn as much fuel as your midgets and sprint cars. They don't run methanol, and they don't have such a high demand in terms of that fuel load. So these guys can continue to circulate for an extremely long time.
No, if you circulate enough and enough times around the track, it's definitely going to help out in the end. At this stage, it doesn't look like the track needs much work in it. I'm surprised, coming with all the weather that we've had over the last 24 hours, that this track is looking really good. It needed that extra moisture too, so that's just what the weather's doing at this stage.
I think Caleb Curry will be really pleased to see this yellow flag. Obviously not pleased to see the rain, but just making that big mistake, getting extremely tight down there in that patch of moisture that he actually just drove through there in turn number 3 and 4, and that just forced the front end across the racetrack, and that allowed Scott Baker to work to his inside. So these guys just continuing to circulate at the moment. A quick time at the moment, a 16.574. That was by your previous race leader, Caleb Curry, and it's significantly faster actually than the rest of the field, with 0.3 over second and then half a second to the rest of the field. So Curry, almost in I would almost say he's in a league of his own, but he had a ton of attention from Scott Baker there.
Yeah, well, Curry is also setting entry times. His entry time into the corner is very quick at this stage. Just looks like he's struggling a little bit on the exits. He'll get that one sorted. That could be a track issue at this stage, but yeah, definitely setting the pace at this stage.
As this rain continues to fall, it's not much. It's just a slight drizzle, but it's just enough of a drizzle that it's laying that moisture layer on the surface. The most important thing we can do here is we need to keep these cars circulating around the venue. As soon as we leave this dirt to settle and just to sit, that's when it gets really slippery, and it makes it really difficult to come back from.
It looks like they've got word too, just to sort of pick up the speed at this stage and try and help out as much as they can. It's clearing, so they've stopped the rain, which is a good thing. So at this stage, just get this track ready, make it safe, get those green lights on and get the action back on track.
You're completely right. Hey, while we've got a minute here as well, how good was that race at Bay Park Speedway last night? Obviously, Michael Pickens returning back to victory lane over top of the young guns, Alec Inslee and Ben Morrison. Obviously, Ben Morrison in second position there after actually leading early in that race. As it looks like we're going lights out, so we'll continue that conversation a little bit later, Marco. We are going to go green. Caleb Curry's going to resume us back to racing here out of turn number 4 with Scott Baker firmly on his rear bumper.
Yeah, Curry looks good though going through. He's holding that mid-line in turns 1 and 2. That's going to hold Baker. Just at this stage, watching these cars going through, Jeremy Wedge still struggling though. A little bit of a difference as they split into 2 groups now. Another lap down at this stage. Lap number 3.
Ricky Brett almost, sorry, Lockie Brett getting extremely tight down there out of turn number 4, just allowing those front cars to get away a little bit. He gets tight again out of turn number 2, so just struggling a little bit with the setup on the 39C as your race leader continues to pull away from the second place car of Scott Baker.
Oh, Webb just straight underneath Brett there, nice and easy. So it looks like Brett just struggling at this stage with the corners. More the exit rather than the entry. The speed's been picked up from the national champion though. The 1NZ representing Ruapuna Speedway down in the mainland. Now starting to come forth on these cars. Yeah,
one of the best things for Lockie at the moment is to allow Jeremy just to work his way through in front of him and learn how to circulate from the 6-time New Zealand TQ champion. So that'll be a good thing for the 39, although losing a position, gain valuable experience. As we can see on screen there, Aaron Humble with an extremely low right rear tyre. That tyre is definitely going down at the moment, and he's got a ton of attention from Cole Robertson.
Yeah, and it's affected him too, because at this stage we haven't mentioned Aaron Humble in this race, and he's leading the second half of this pack, so it is affecting him. Aaron Humble is normally not struggling this much to be able to get up on the other pack.
Driver's extremely hesitant at these early stages as well to make a move with how much grease is down on the surface, but as that tyre continues to deflate, we'll keep an eye on that battle. As a massive accident up the front there, Scott Baker gone for a huge ride down there in turn number 3. Not sure at all what happened there to Scott. Good to see him moving inside the car though. And, I mean, that was your second place running car there, Scott Baker. He just disappeared behind our framework here. But that was a huge accident for Scott Baker. So awesome to see him moving inside the cockpit there.
Yeah, huge height as well on that one. So the catch fence doing its job, the new catch fence. So good to see his moving replay up on the screen now, Hayden.
Just looks like he got up on the bicycle actually, up on the outside wheels and then came down. Good to see the catch fence absorbing that impact as well and returning Scott down to the racing surface. And I mean, that visor went straight up immediately under the visor of the 64 there. So I mean, Scott, a long-time veteran of the TQ classes, we can see him walking off here. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last night. The fitness of these race car drivers these days pays a massive advantage for accidents like that, and Scott takes his fitness extremely puts a lot of value on it, sorry.
He might have just misread the speed going into that corner. I'm surprised there was no contact in it as well. We just missed the beginning of the accident, but the height of that, he's walking away, which is a great sign.
Yeah, and the TQs just stopped down there in turn number 3 as they allow the track prep crew to kind of just work that car up and off the racing surface. And I mean, man, that we didn't really have any decent crashes on the opening night here at Lucas Oil Auckland Speedway, but I think that one takes the cake as the biggest one here so far. So, I mean, a record that Scott Baker will not like. As we can see, yeah, absolutely, just gets up on the outside wheels, and that just sends him along for a ride, just a passenger as soon as that happens.
Yeah, it looks like the race has been called, so they'll declare that one and we'll move straight on into the next part of the program tonight, but it is a good one. I guess we're going to have to look back onto the list to see who's come in their top 3 there, Hayden, but easy call. It was only another couple of laps that were left in it anyway.
Yeah, just rounding out your top 5. Well, we've got a second here as well. Caleb Curry, Saul Smith, Jeremy Webb, Lockie Brett, and Aaron Humble rounding out your top 5 there. And we're going to throw down to Nick down there in the pits.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, pretty abrupt end to the race. And Scotty Baker, crikey, mate, that was a great test of the fence.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the first one to do that, but unfortunately I am. You know, just really sorry to the crew and Harris Race Cars. Just got up on the bicycle there and couldn't get it back down, and then we're away from there. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but these things happen.
During the early part of the race, though, you seemed to get the number of the number 12 out in front of you, and he just drove around the outside.
Yeah, no, I think one of the second restart there, we got a really good start and got in front of the 12, and I thought, yeah, no, we're away here, and then the yellow came out like it always does. But again, that's racing, so you know, we'll be back.
All right, and with the New Zealand Championships coming up a little later on in January, you'll be keen to get back out on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, track time is really important here. This is only our second time here, like everyone else, and it's different every time. So the more experience you can get, the better off you're going to be for the title.